All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kuro has blessed us with quite a bit of news over the past 12 hours. And the first item on that agenda, don't worry, we'll be covering the other bits later. The first item on that agenda that I wanted to cover was, of course, the drip marketing for the second new 5-star resonator arriving in version 2.5, Iuno. And boy, oh boy, I think there are a lot of people excited for this unit. A lot of references being had over here. Some people are saying she's from Fate Grand Order. Other people are saying she's from some other franchises. But Iuno, however you're supposed to pronounce it, I don't really like the spelling that much, is finally here. Let's take a look. While the moon cycles, I remain the anchor. And so you're seeing over here, there's quite a bit of like this sea motif going on. I'm not sure if this is clouds. It looks like a beach to me. But with her being like very like moon oriented, I'm not really sure like what the motif actually is over here. But what I know for certain is that her main color is blue. And when it comes to the color blue in Wuthering Waves, it doesn't really mean that much at all. Because it actually turns out, I think with some information that Kuro Games has given us, she's actually Arrow. And she's a gauntlet user. So that's just a couple of things to keep in mind. Iuno is a priestess, well known in Septimot for being a prodigy. Yeah, we saw a lot of that during the 2.4 story quest. She can like look up evidence, kind of like see the future to a degree, stuff like that. She is blessed with the infallible ability to see the future by studying how moonlight changes. That's quite a superpower. Blessings can be curses by another name, some may say, and they may be correct. But Iuno is not one to bow to conventions. She strives to bring variation to the constants of fate, the way she brought moonlight to set against daylight. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That has to be one of the most whimsical, like, fruity, flowery things I've read. I don't really know what I was supposed to derive from that. Not really too much I know about, like, combat styles involving astrology. All I know is, yeah, she's got a bit of an attitude. She's a little bit upfront. We saw her a lot during the 2.4 main story quest part 1, and I think a lot of people have been excited for her ever since. We got the Griffin, we got that creature from Septimot over here, and we know that she is directly adjacent, directly almost like opposed to Augusta in the lore. The moon versus the sun. It makes a lot of sense that both of these units, right, they're kind of like launching with each other in version 2.5, and they share that relationship in the lore. So obviously, there's not a lot for us to draw directly from this. Why don't we go ahead and move on to the next bit of news when it comes to her? And that's actually going to be, well, we've already seen like the weapon types. We'll get into that in a little bit. This trailer. And so, why don't we take a quick listen to this 15 second clip. Okay. All right. A lot of close-ups. Lots of close-ups. So, I don't think that we saw pretty much anything relating to Arrow, pretty much anything at all relating to gauntlets. This has to be probably one of the most creative designs that I think Kuro Games has ever put into the game, for the perspective of, I have no idea how any of this is actually put together. And for those of you that have seen some of the official gameplay leaks from Kuro Games, I don't think that makes very much sense either. And so I really think that this unit is kind of like one of the biggest breakaways that Wuthering Waves has kind of had from like its built-in attribute, its built-in weapon system. There is, I think, we might as well not think of like the types or the equipment as any indication at all for future units moving forward, because I think Kuro Games has kind of just, I don't want to say given up, but they're not letting these systems be a limitation for them anymore. She uses some sort of like moon chakram thing in combat, and so I'm not really sure what role she's actually going to play. All I know for certain is that there currently exists an Arrow Gauntlet user on the roster, and they're kind of one of the most unused units in the game. I don't hope that what Iuno does is like power creep John Jin to some sort of degree, because John Jin's kit is one of the most unusable ones in the game, just from the perspective of it takes forever to charge up her stuff. She's like a hybrid support that combines like sustain and a little bit of DPS on the side. Maybe Yuno's going to do the same thing. Or the relationships that we can draw over here don't really matter at all. This isn't like the Augusta drip marketing. This isn't even like the drip marketings of the past, right? Where where we can like talk about some of the existing members, because there's not a lot of arrow units that currently exist. There's not a lot of potential synergies for us to explore. You got John Jin as the standard 5-star. You got Alto over here as sort of like the sub DPS buffer. You got Jian over here as one of the first limited units ever released in the game. And then you got the whole like arrow erosion suite over here. And this is my take. If Iuno has anything to do with arrow erosion, anything to do with that sort of like debuff mechanic, I think it's going to be a complete miss for the developers, because I am personally of the opinion that the arrow erosion team is already complete with Arrow Rover, Cartithia, Chacona, and having a replacement for any of those team members this early on after that team is completed, it's a combination of like player unfriendly, while also like Arrow Rover doesn't even have their sequence nodes at S6 yet. Even if some people don't like playing this unit, I don't think that we're in a position in Wuthering Waves' like life cycle, its release cycle, for this unit to even be like power creeped yet or have its replacement. And the reason for that is you don't even have them maxed out, right? We don't even have all the dupes of their signature weapon, Blood Pack's Pledge. We don't even have all of their dupes when it comes to their sequence nodes. We still got like 3 more over here and 1 or 2 more for the Pledge. And it's kind of just like, give people more time to work with this one. Give people more time to work with this one. My money is that this unit, being Arrow, is actually probably going to use this Echo that drops from Fenrico. And you might be a little bit skeptical, but when you read the effects, you'll probably understand. You have the Remini Fenrico currently in the game. And this Echo, right, currently is unusable. It's unusable on every single member of the roster. You might think, oh, Jian's gonna love this. It gives arrow damage and heavy attack. But it's on a set that's literally not usable for him. And so my take is that I don't think Iuno's gonna be a 0 resonance energy character that uses Echo skill damage. I think that this set is going to have a new Sonata, or sorry, this Echo is going to have a new Sonata available, and there's going to be a new set. And based off of this, I'm assuming that Iuno is going to deal arrow damage and heavy attack damage bonus. That is what I am going to assume her actual damage typing is, and then this is going to be what's in the main slot for her. Or somehow this Echo ends up becoming like a DPS set that focuses on like heavy attack, and it's made for Jian. It's one of those two, right? Otherwise, what is the point of this thing existing in the game? Why can we farm it right now? And why is it these types of damage specifically? It's for Iuno or it's for Jian. That's pretty much all I can derive from it right now. And what I know from that initial conclusion is that this is going to have a new fucking Sonata. Because I know no universe where any of those units I just talked about are going to be using Dream of the Lost with that 0 resonance energy synergy going on here. That's pretty much the most clues that I can draw from the kits right now. I think a lot of people are going to see the arrow heavy attack and assume that the role that she's going to play may be something, potentially something, like a Jian buffer. But the other role that people got to recognize that she's probably going to play is as like a second fiddle, perhaps a dual DPS, but a partner for Augusta. Because if these two aren't able to work on the same team together, I'm going to be honest, I would be a little bit remiss. I would be a little bit upset. But the thing is that characters that are partnered together in the lore don't traditionally work together, though. One of the biggest, like, you know, you look at a lot of pairings that are currently in the game. Some of them naturally do work really well, but some of them make no fucking sense at all, even if they are friends in the lore. You can play Jinxie and Changli together, but most people don't do it. It's like, you know, their outro buffs don't really line up, that sort of stuff. You think about, like, your Lupa and like Rover actually working together, yeah, they're not a duo that you use in combat. You think your Carlotta and maybe your Zani working together? No, that's not something that ever occurs. You think your Chacona and your Carlotta because they grew up together? No, there's absolutely no synergy there at all. And so or you think you're Zhang Liao and your Mortefi because they're both scientists and they're on this and they frequently work together? Absolutely not. Right? So the thing is, I don't think that there's really a solid backbone at all for lore pairings to have any synergy. Oh, right, another one that I forgot, right? But it should be one of the most classics. You got Encore and Alto. Yeah, get these two the fuck away from each other in a team lineup menu. They're so far away from having any chance of like contributing at all. When they're on the same team, it's ridiculous, but they're almost like they're always together in the lore, right? So it's just don't read too much into this one. I know it sounds cute. You can be like,
oh, look, I have the sun and moon, the opposite sides in space, and now they're working together on my team. Oh, I love this.
That would be a nice dream, but it would be unfortunate if you went to sleep one day thinking that would be reality, and then you woke up and it wasn't there. So that's a little bit of my play, a little bit of a reference. I probably quoted it wrong from the version 2.5 quest, but if you got what I was saying, then you got what I was saying. I would say this has to be one of the most mystifying character releases that Kuro Games has ever had. Is she going to be the new best in slot Gion support? Is she going to be heavy attack? Is she going to be a Mavuika? Or sorry, an Augusta support? Who knows? Or is she just going to be a DPS on top of all of this? Nobody knows. But at the end of the day, I can say, with the design that Kuro Games is putting into all of these different characters, all these different rosters, I'm certain that the gameplay, I'm certain that the buffs, the interactions, they're going to be pretty meaningful. But just as like a last note, I will not be very happy at all if she ends up being an arrow erosion type of character. Because I think that's the one thing that would, honestly, kind of like ruin her release. Is her being something related to arrow erosion, because then I think there's absolutely no chance of synergy here, and there's no chance of synergy with almost any other unit on the roster. I do not want her to be an arrow rover replacement, and I hope Kuro Games is not getting to that point of their development cycle, because we don't need another Fug U yet, and honestly, I don't even think we need a Fug U at all when it comes to this game. Do not go down the Honkai Star Rail route. We will be taking a look at that official gameplay reveal in just a bit, but I hope you all enjoyed these sort of like individualized thoughts, my takeaways when it comes to Iuno and her design, and we'll just have to wait for more details when it comes to her in that next live stream for version 2.6. I'll see all y'all later. Peace out.